Willia Stevens once mentioned that human nature is like water. It adapts to the shape of its container, and this idea resonates deeply when we consider the ways in which our behavior, desires, and interpersonal connections are formed. Just as water effortlessly conforms to whatever vessel it occupies, human beings have a natural tendency to mold themselves according to the influences, expectations, and environments they encounter. This observation is not merely poetic. It serves as a fundamental insight into how we can shape our interactions and even influence others. By understanding that our attitudes and responses are highly adaptable, we come to realize that the principles governing our natural world can also be applied to the art of persuasion and seduction. The idea that one can gently guide someone's feelings, making them fall deeply in love or become more receptive to new ideas, is both intriguing and powerful. However, it is essential to acknowledge from the outset that with such power comes immense responsibility, and the true value of these techniques lies in their ethical and positive application. Delving deeper into the realm of influence, one must consider the subtle art of persuasion, a field that has fascinated scholars and strategists for centuries. When we speak of influencing someone, we are not talking about coercion or manipulation in the sinister sense. Rather, we are referring to a process of shaping perceptions and fostering connections through psychological insight. This approach is not about trickery or deceit, but about understanding the fundamental aspects of human behavior and using them to build genuine rapport and lasting bonds. It is a delicate balance. The goal is to create situations where the other person feels naturally drawn to you, not because they are being controlled, but because they are discovering qualities in you that resonate with their own desires and values. When we use these techniques wisely, they become tools for enhancing our relationships and deepening our connections with others. Inspired by the extensive research of figures like Robert Greene, who has spent a considerable part of his career studying the mechanics of power, persuasion, and seduction, we can learn that the principles behind these dark psychological tactics are both ancient and timeless. Greene's work often explores how historical figures, leaders, and influencers have used subtle, sometimes covert, strategies to sway the opinions and behaviors of those around them. His studies reveal that the art of seduction is not merely about superficial charm or flashy displays of confidence, but rather about a deep understanding of the human psyche and the underlying motivations that drive us all. In this spirit, I would like to share a series of psychological techniques, each potent in its own right, that demonstrate how one might gently steer another's emotions and decisions. It is crucial, however, to stress that these techniques are to be employed with the utmost care, always with a focus on fostering mutual respect and positive outcomes rather than exercising undue control. One of the most powerful methods to influence someone's perception is to use the principle of scarcity to increase desire. Psychological studies have repeatedly shown that people assign higher value to things that are rare or not easily attainable. When something appears scarce, our minds immediately interpret it as more precious, more desirable, and ultimately more worth having. In the context of interpersonal relationships, this means that when you allow your time and attention to be somewhat limited, you inadvertently create a sense of urgency and elevated worth in the eyes of others. Instead of being constantly available, which can sometimes lead to a sense of entitlement or even taken for granted behavior, setting boundaries subtly enhances your allure. Imagine, for instance, someone who is deeply involved in their own pursuits, whether those involve a demanding career, enriching hobbies, or personal growth endeavors. By genuinely dedicating time to these passions and allowing yourself to be absorbed in the fulfillment of your own goals, you not only become more interesting, but you also signal that your time is valuable. This approach naturally limits your availability, making every moment you share with someone feel like a rare and cherished event. When you are fully engaged and present during these shared moments, the quality of your interaction increases, and the anticipation of your next encounter grows exponentially. It is a delicate art. One must balance the act of being present and attentive without seeming overly eager or desperate. In doing so, you create an environment where your presence becomes a sought-after commodity, an essential element in the formation of a deep, emotional connection. Another subtle yet effective tactic lies in what is often referred to as the foot in the door technique, a strategy that involves starting with a small, easily agreeable request and gradually moving toward larger, more significant asks. The human mind has a natural inclination toward consistency. Once someone agrees to a minor request, they are more likely to comply with subsequent, slightly larger ones in order to maintain a consistent self-image. This method is akin to planting a seed in a garden, beginning with something small that eventually blossoms into a magnificent tree. Consider a scenario where you casually inquire about someone's preference for a universally liked treat, such as ice cream. The simplicity of such a question creates an immediate, positive response. Building on that, you might later propose a casual outing to enjoy ice cream together, a request that feels natural in the context of their earlier affirmation. Over time, as these small affirmations accumulate, the other person starts to see themselves as agreeable and willing to engage, which makes it far easier for you to introduce larger, more meaningful interactions. The underlying principle here is the reinforcement of a self-identity that is aligned with the relationship or interaction you wish to cultivate. As this pattern continues, each affirmative response not only builds a foundation of trust and consistency but also paves the way for more significant commitments, ultimately leading to a more profound and intimate connection. In a similar vein, the concept of mystery plays a crucial role in drawing others to you. Humans are naturally intrigued by the unknown. There is a magnetic allure in what is not fully revealed. When you choose to keep certain aspects of your life or personality veiled, you spark a sense of curiosity that compels the other person to want to learn more. This approach is similar to the layers of an onion. Each layer that is gradually uncovered reveals more depth and complexity, keeping the intrigue alive. By sharing just enough about yourself initially and then gradually revealing more over time, you create a dynamic where every new piece of information becomes an enticing clue, a promise of greater depths waiting to be explored. This strategy is not about withholding crucial information or being deceptive. Rather, it is about pacing the exchange in a way that keeps the interaction lively and continuously engaging. As the other person begins to peel back the layers of your personality, they become more invested in the journey of discovery, and this process of gradual revelation can foster a much deeper emotional bond. The allure of mystery lies in the balance between what is shared and what is kept hidden, a delicate interplay that, when executed with finesse, transforms your personality into an ongoing enigma that captivates and inspires continued interest. Adding to these techniques is the strategy of alternating between attention and detachment, a tactic often described as the push-pull method. This approach involves a carefully orchestrated interplay between giving plenty of attention and then strategically withdrawing it, creating a dynamic tension that keeps the other person engaged. In essence, when you push by showering someone with affection and attention, you make them feel valued and desired. However, when you pull back and focus on your own pursuits, you introduce an element of unpredictability into the relationship. This unpredictability triggers a natural psychological response, the desire to chase what seems just out of reach. It is much like the thrill of a game, where the challenge of catching up with someone who is not constantly available adds an exciting layer of complexity to the interaction. When executed correctly, the push-pull technique reinforces the idea that while you are genuinely interested in the other person, you are not overly dependent on their constant presence. Instead, you are portrayed as someone with a rich, multifaceted life, a person whose time and attention are highly prized. This method, when balanced carefully, maintains the spark of excitement and anticipation, ensuring that each encounter is charged with a renewed sense of mystery and engagement. Yet another powerful approach is the subtle art of creating a triangle of desire. This tactic involves letting the other person know, in a nuanced and indirect way, that you are admired and desired by others as well. The underlying psychological principle here is that of social proof. When something is clearly valued by many, it naturally becomes more attractive to individuals. In a relational context, this means that by allowing hints of your desirability to be known, whether through casual comments or the visible appreciation of others, you elevate your own perceived worth. The goal is not to incite jealousy or foster insecurity, but rather to reinforce the notion that you are someone who is not only valued by the person in front of you but also by a broader circle of admirers. This subtle strategy creates an environment where your partner is reminded of the fact that you are a person of considerable value, someone who is in demand. In turn, this increases her own appreciation for the relationship, as she feels fortunate to be part of your world. The triangle of desire works as a form of gentle reinforcement that underscores your inherent appeal, making your presence even more magnetic and desirable. In contrast to the broader strategies of scarcity and social proof, there is a more intimate and personal approach that involves making the other person feel as though they are the sole focus of your attention. This tactic centers on the idea that everyone longs to feel special, to be seen and understood in a way that validates their unique worth. When you devote your full attention to someone, actively listen to them, and remember the little details that are significant to them, you create a powerful emotional connection. This approach requires a level of mindfulness and genuine care that transcends mere physical presence. It is about showing through your actions, and not just your words, that you value the person deeply. Whether you are setting aside distractions, maintaining eye contact, or engaging in thoughtful conversation, the goal is to communicate clearly that in that moment, they are the most important person in your world. This kind of focused attention builds a foundation of trust and intimacy, reinforcing the belief that the relationship is not only significant but also uniquely special. It creates a safe space where both individuals can feel truly seen and cherished, paving the way for a deeper and more meaningful connection. Complementing these methods is the technique of mirroring and matching, a subtle yet remarkably effective way of fostering rapport and connection. This strategy involves subtly mimicking the other person's body language, speech patterns, or gestures in a natural, unforced manner. Psychological research has shown that when people perceive others as similar to themselves, they tend to feel more comfortable and are more inclined to form a connection. This phenomenon, often referred to as the chameleon effect, works on the principle that subconscious mimicry can break down barriers and facilitate smoother communication. For example, if the person you are engaging with leans in while speaking, mirroring that slight gesture can create a sense of synchronicity between you. Similarly, matching the pace or tone of their speech can contribute to a feeling of mutual understanding and empathy. The key to this technique is subtlety. It should feel natural, as if you are effortlessly in tune with the other person's rhythm. Overdoing it, however, might come off as contrived or even mocking. When executed with finesse, mirroring and matching serve to reinforce the notion that you are both on the same wavelength, which can significantly enhance the depth of your connection. It is important to emphasize that while these techniques offer a fascinating glimpse into the psychology of persuasion and seduction, they come with an ethical imperative that cannot be overstated. The power to influence another person's feelings and decisions is not something to be taken lightly. Each of these strategies, whether it is the calculated use of scarcity, the gradual approach of the foot in the door technique, the allure of mystery, the dynamic push-pull interplay, the subtle triangle of desire, the intimacy of focused attention, or the empathetic mirroring and matching, must be employed with an awareness of the responsibility that accompanies influence. The ultimate goal should not be to manipulate or control, but rather to foster genuine connections based on mutual respect, trust, and admiration. When used responsibly, these methods can enhance your relationships by promoting a deeper understanding of the underlying psychological dynamics at play. They can help you create interactions that are not only compelling and engaging but also grounded in authenticity and care. At its core, the study of persuasion and seduction is about exploring the intricate dance of human interaction, the way in which our desires, fears, and aspirations intersect in moments of vulnerability and connection. It is an invitation to look beyond the surface and to appreciate the complexity of the human spirit. The tactics described here are not shortcuts to power or control. Rather, they are reflections of time-tested principles that have been observed in nature and human society alike. They remind us that while we may have the capacity to influence, the true art lies in doing so with grace and integrity. When you allow your personality to unfold naturally, when you let your passions shine through and engage with others from a place of genuine interest, you create an environment where influence is a byproduct of authenticity. In such a space, every interaction becomes an opportunity for growth, every conversation a chance to learn, and every shared moment a building block in the foundation of a truly meaningful relationship. The techniques discussed here illustrate that influence is not a one-size-fits-all formula but rather a mosaic of interconnected principles. The beauty of human nature is its inherent flexibility, its ability to adapt, transform, and evolve. By harnessing this adaptability, you can create situations where every encounter is charged with the potential for deeper connection and mutual understanding. It is the interplay between vulnerability and strength, between presence and mystery, that ultimately defines the quality of our relationships. In practicing these techniques, you are invited to cultivate a sense of self-awareness that not only enhances your personal appeal but also enriches the lives of those with whom you share your journey. The art of persuasion, when viewed through the lens of ethical responsibility, becomes a celebration of human connection, a dynamic, ever-evolving process that underscores the profound impact of genuine, heartfelt interaction. In reflecting on these ideas, one is reminded that influence should always be wielded with the intention of upliftment rather than control. The power embedded in these dark psychological tactics is, in truth, a double-edged sword. When used positively, they can pave the way for transformative relationships built on trust, mutual respect, and authentic care. However, when misused or exploited for selfish gain, they can lead to manipulation, broken trust, and emotional harm. This inherent duality calls for a mindful approach, one that recognizes the fine line between persuasion and coercion. It is incumbent upon anyone who chooses to explore these strategies to continuously evaluate their motivations and the impact of their actions on others. In doing so, you not only safeguard the well-being of those around you but also ensure that your influence contributes to the creation of relationships that are both fulfilling and sustainable. Ultimately, the insights gleaned from these psychological tactics serve as a reminder of the incredible complexity of human nature. They reveal that our interactions are not merely random occurrences but are instead guided by a set of underlying principles that, when understood, can help us navigate the intricate web of relationships that define our lives. Whether you are seeking to foster a deeper connection with a loved one, build trust in a budding relationship, or simply understand the dynamics that make human interaction so compelling, these techniques offer valuable tools for enhancing your interpersonal skills. As you explore these strategies, remember that the essence of true influence lies in the authenticity of your engagement, in the genuine expression of who you are and the sincere interest you take in the lives of others. The journey of persuasion and seduction is, in many ways, a journey of self-discovery. It challenges you to examine your own behavior, to understand your strengths and vulnerabilities, and to harness these insights in a way that enriches both your life and the lives of those around you. In this process, every conversation becomes an opportunity to practice empathy, every shared silence a moment of mutual understanding, and every gesture a reaffirmation of your unique presence in the world. It is a delicate balance, one that requires not only strategic thinking but also a deep commitment to ethical conduct. When you approach this art with a clear intention to build rather than break, to heal rather than harm, you transform the act of persuasion into a powerful force for positive change. In conclusion, the principles discussed here, from the calculated use of scarcity to the subtle art of mirroring, offer a fascinating window into the depths of human behavior. They demonstrate that influence, when rooted in authenticity and ethical practice, can become a catalyst for creating meaningful connections that stand the test of time. Each technique is a testament to the intricate dance of human interaction, a dance that, when performed with care, grace, and genuine intent, has the power to transform ordinary encounters into moments of profound significance. As you incorporate these insights into your interactions, allow yourself to be guided by the knowledge that true influence is not about domination, but about fostering an environment where both you and the people you care about can flourish together. Embrace the fluidity of human nature, Let your personality shine through in all its complexity, and remember that the ultimate goal is to build a life of authentic, heartfelt connection. A life where every moment is cherished, every interaction is meaningful, and every relationship is a reflection of your truest self.